Hello guys, and today Ukraine continued to successfully demilitarize Russia, targeting only legitimate military objects and most importantly two very big military factories, one in Rostov region in the city of Azov, responsible for the production of a lot of thermal cameras for the Russian army, and another one even more interesting in the Moscow region that was working for the production of Shahed drones details, and it was targeted by a new kind of the Ukrainian drone that also uses similar to Shahed drones technologies but is modified. And please, your attention, is modified to be extremely accurate in choosing the targets. So even after 3.5 years of total Russian violence, constant betrayals from our partners, we still keep caring about following the rules of war. So let me tell you more about this beautiful Russian geography lessons on the 4th of July, when many Americans truly celebrate their country and Ukrainians go and try to survive after another and actually the largest ever attack on Kyiv, after Trump-Putin telephone call. Pretty symbolic. But let's talk about important things, and that is the implementation of our peace plan to defeat and demilitarize Russia. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine. I'm in Ukraine in one beautiful place in the middle of the forest. And please subscribe if you want to witness the collapse of the Kremlin together. I'm sure we will enjoy discussing this on the channel. So let's start with this truly important fact that during this months, we are pretty successful in visiting Russian military objects because Russia was totally unprepared to defend itself. And I'm always proud to tell you that our drones worked on the demilitarization of Russia's instruments of war, and thus making not only Ukraine but many other countries a safer place. And we worked in a lot of the Russian regions. For example, in Rostov, in Moscow region, literally the capital of the Russian Federation, something unbelievable, something no one could think was possible back in 2022. But also in Kursk, in Belgorod, in Oryol, in Lipetsk. And I'm actually glad that I need to make, this list in my notebook so that I don't forget about regions, because there are many of them. And trust me, Russians are very dissatisfied with what they experience. Once again, they are lucky because we only target legitimate military objects, and very different to what Russians do. For example, tonight, my beautiful Ukraine was targeted by 550 different drones and missiles from Russia. That started literally after the call between Putin and Trump. And there is no explanation for that. It is unforgivable. And unfortunately, I'm not able to express everything I feel, because it's useless to do in our community, in the community of people who value freedom, who care about each other. And I don't see the need to be, aggressive or negative because you're friends. But trust me, a lot of Ukrainians feel very betrayed. And honestly, I think a lot of Americans too. Happy 4th of July, and please protect your democracy. You have always been an example of freedom for many of us. As a person that comes from the Soviet Union, I was born just before the collapse of this evil monster. Never underestimate the importance of freedom, of elections, of free speech. Don't let oligarchs or narcissists decide the future of your children and children of your children. So please be careful with that. Especially when right now China openly speaks in the response to the leaders of the European Union that it will not let Russia lose. So honestly, guys, this is already the Third World War, nothing else. No time for hiding, no time for preparation. Help Ukraine do the job, and at least help us protect our cities. If you follow me on Instagram, do the link in the description of this video. On X, I share a lot of photos taken during this night in Kyiv, and it's really painful to see what they do to the capital in Europe, to the capital of brave, good people, respecting the rules people, the agreements people. And the people that cannot even buy now patriots from the White House, we don't know for what reason. Please subscribe and share these videos. That is the easiest but extremely effective way to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. And I'm super grateful when you do it and when you leave your comments. So let's focus on the objects that we targeted. Number one, like there were a lot, but these most important ones. Number one was in the city Azov. In Rostov region, actually a lot of military objects in Rostov were visited by the Ukrainian drones, but a specifically important one was the plant that produces a lot of thermal cameras for the Russian army. And you know, that's important, night vision elements and other stuff. So by destroying it, we actually paralyze at least a small part within the Russian army. Another important strike was in Moscow region, and it has already become a tradition that Ukrainian drones keep visiting the heart of the evil empire. They have to close airports, they don't know what to explain to the people, and for Putin and his mafia, perhaps the greatest fear and the greatest problem is when they need to explain something to the people in Moscow or St. Petersburg. They don't care about Russian regions. You clearly see they don't have air defense for that regions. They don't help people rebuild anything, even after they bomb their own Belgorod or Kursk regions. But in Moscow or St. Petersburg, they have a lot of oligarchs, they have a lot of mafia who can become dissatisfied, and I'm sure they are. Because literally every week, a couple of times, they had to close their airports, the work of the airlines is paralyzed, and now a very important military object targeted very near to Moscow, and it was targeted with a new kind of Shahed drones. Well, actually, it's not a classical Shahed drone, but it uses the Shahed drone technology, and it has some important modifications in its tail. And I was once again so in love with us. Maybe it sounds a little bit like arrogant, but oh my God, in this like betrayal with hundreds of drones targeting your capital every day, we still care about this precision strikes of our drones. And these Shahed drones were modified to make them accurate. So that target only those evil objects that otherwise create more instruments to destroy more Ukrainian homes, more Ukrainian hospitals and schools. So there were a lot of drones, like more than 10, targeting that plant, and it also works in the details for Shahed drones. It's always so interesting, so about future when we think that drones destroyed Shahed drones factories. This often happens in Tatarstan and now around Moscow. Russian air defense is not working. This war is totally different from what NATO countries were preparing for. Another reminder, help Ukraine survive, help Ukraine defend this world that you built, that you love. Don't let our civilization collapse. And when I say our, I don't mean just Ukraine. I mean Germany, I mean France, I mean the US, I mean Australia. I mean a person literally in every corner of the world that respects human life, dignity, freedom, free thinking, free choice, we become rare. So remember to support Ukraine by sharing these videos. Also follow me on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, and Discord. All the links in the description of this video. Same as links to our merch shop where we have minus 15% sale to celebrate the 4th of July and all those good people who fight for democracy, be it in conversations, in the letters or emails, in your social media choices, in your prayers. Everything matters and everything is important. We've been in a similar situation as you are now, my American friends, and we know how bad it feels, and it will definitely not last long. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. That is an honor and a blessing, and that's why I have a second channel, because I'm able to work more. So please subscribe to that channel and check my latest video about this new Putin strategy that unfortunately we now experience literally every night. But united we stand, I feel that, and I'm very grateful for the community of friends that we have on this channel and on channel Anna Delinchuk. I love you very much, you know that. Slava Ukraini!